it's been a year. 1 year with the Spiders and the Inverts. So, happy hobbyversary, I guess. What can we talk about this week? Well, I've got a couple of little rehouses to do, as always. And literally just wanted to chat about what I've learned over the course of the year and how the hobbies affected me, really. So, first spider we picked up was our GBB last November, and this was after me having huge arachnophobia. Decided to cave in and let Connor have a spider. So we picked up a GBB with a starter kit from Spider Shop, and it was gorgeous, and it changed my view on spiders 100%, as you can probably tell. We went from having one GBB, we then went up to the Midlands Entomology Show in December at Newark, and we bought a subadult female Simani and a small little sling curly hair, Toledo alto albipelosa. And from that point forwards, like, little did I realise, we were like, why do we need three? We've got one, why do we need three? It's addictive, and I grew to realise that very, very fast. Because by February we had 20, and now I think we have around 80 spiders. Big, small, new world, old world, arboreal, terrestrial, fossorial, spicy ones, docile ones, colourful ones, brown ones, but they're all brilliant, and they're something you can sit and watch, and even though they don't interact with you, observing them is really therapeutic and calming, so I find anyway. Anyway, let's get onto the rehouses first, and then while we're doing the rehouses we'll have a chat about what I've learnt and mistakes I've made and things that I've changed. So let's get on to those. Got 3 slings here to give a rehouse to, into these little Reptizoo acrylic tubs. Got 2 Davus Pentaluris, which we can set up with some anchor points and stuff. They're growing like weeds. Absolute, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but they are growing nice and quickly. So one of them give them a rehouse before they get miserable in these ones. And this one's going to get an upgrade. This Rehousing species Puria has been with us almost a year. It's molted probably 6 or 7 times and still quite tiny, but we're going to give it a rehouse into this just because it wanders around aimlessly in this one at the moment. So we're going to give this a rehouse into here today, give it a little bit more space to wander around in, and hopefully have many more molts. Right, let's get these filled with substrate and get these into there. 3 simple setups: peat moss, cocoa fibre, water bowl, cork bark, and we're done. So I think it's time to get them in their new homes. So back at Rehouse Central, aka the bathroom, we have the Rehousing species Puria. We have our Davus Pentaluris number 2 and number 1. So we're going to rehousing all these 3 in here. Like I said, not necessarily because they 100% need it, but I want to get them out of these little pots. They're growing pretty fast and I'd rather give them some space to wander. So first up we're going to do the Puria into this little setup, which has nice bits of coarse bark, some fake plants, water dish, some nice substrate. So let's have a see how this one's going to go. This spider moves a bit weird, so I'm hoping it's going to just play ball and wander nicely into its new enclosure. we will see. Try and get it onto this side because then I can move it up. Right, see how this is going to move today. Paintbrush. Come on, dude. Okay. You've got room to spread your legs in the new place. Come on. Come on. Let's take that front leg off of there. Come on. Come on. Let's come on, dude. Let's back you up. Come on, you're so leggy. You appreciate this new home once you turn around. Here we go. Oh, oh no, come on camera, really? Anyway, I don't know when the camera decided to fall over, but the spider is now in its new setup. If we can get that focused. Hopefully it's got a lot more space in there to do what it wants to do. Spread its legs around a little bit more. It was a little bit cramped in that old one, so this one's a little bit funny with regards to its bolting behaviour, so we'll put that on there now. It's a lovely spider, really leggy, and hopefully it's been deserving of an upgrade for a while, so hopefully that one's going to enjoy that. Right, let's get this camera set up and move on to number 2, shall we? Right, next up we have Tarantula.Rookie number 1. A little bit of a flighty spider sometimes, so I don't like the way that rocks like that. These things are never square, but anyway, we'll see how this one goes. These can be a little bit flighty, but probably okay in here, but we're going to get it moved out anyway and give it some more space. They like to web up and off, sort of give it a nice big home in there, get it moving, hopefully give it some space to wander around, do its thing. Right, see if this spider will go gently or whether it's going to be a pain in the bottom. See if we can get this cork bark out. The whole thing's attached to it, so we might be moving spider with bark and soil. Nope. As you can see, or can you see? Let's move it a little bit nearer there. Lovely spider, beautiful looking coloration. Don't flick, what are you flicking for? And we're in. Awesome. Absolutely love these spiders. Probably can't even see it from that angle. But I do love these spiders. Absolutely gorgeous colorations on them. Superb little beasties. Excellent. Right, let's get the lid on this one and get on to number 3. And lastly we have my second Davos
Pentaloris. And we're going to put it in, which way around are we going to go with this one? I have to do it that way. Right. See how this one wants to move today. See if we can get this walking out. Might have to walk this onto the edge of the enclosure because of the way the cork bark is on this one. But that's cool. Let's give him a little tap on the sides. Don't flick. Come on. That's it. Forwards. Come on then. Into the new home. Nice and calm. Get his legs off. Perfect. Couldn't have asked for better. Couldn't have asked for better, could we really? Let's have a look at this one. Chosen a bit of an odd position for him to chill out, but yeah. So yeah, all three of them successfully rehoused. Job's a good one. So the rehousings went pretty well, I thought. Nice and calm. So what have I picked up and how have I changed in the last 365 days of keeping spiders and other inverts? Well, I've learnt to stress less. Some of my friends may disagree with that comment, but if they'd seen me a year ago hovering over the enclosures wondering why a spider was lifting its leg or doing this or doing that, yeah, they're the easiest animals to keep that I've ever had, but they cause you the most stress. Constantly worrying about them. But the good thing is having more has caused me not to worry so much because I've got other things to concentrate on. Different spiders to look at. I think when you've got one or two, you can sit there and stress too much about them. Don't worry about the feeding. If they don't want to eat, I've got a spider that hasn't eaten since May. My little tiny pulchra is probably 3 or 4 centimetres. It's not eaten since May. It's moving still around. It's still drinking. It's going to molt probably in the next 50 billion years. But yeah, not to stress too much. There's one of the things I learned. With regards to stress, is not panicking too much and not taking the care sheets with like a pinch of salt. Whilst most of them give you a rough guide on what to do and ideal conditions of an area that these spiders live in, you don't want to stress too much about the humidity levels. Dry species, you've got your water bowl, let the soil dry. The ones that need a little bit higher humidity, you've got to remember that you let the substrate at the bottom have a bit of moisture to it and it'll evaporate through, creating the humidity. Don't sit there thinking you've got to soak and make a swimming pool out of these spiders' enclosures for the ones that need 80-90% humidity. I mean, this room itself at the moment is sitting at about 52% humidity, and there's no moisture in my carpet. So getting the humidity up slightly with a bit of water inside an enclosure it's easily doable. So don't panic about too much about care sheets. Don't worry specifically about numbers on humidity. Just get in the rough area of those things, and most of the spiders will be okay. Cross ventilation. If the air in the room's not moving, there's no air movement in the room. So regarding ventilation on these enclosures, if the air's not moving, it's just going to sit there anyway. So if you are worried about that sort of stuff, you've got to try and get the air moving in the room a little bit. I have my window open every now and then and just let the air flow around. But people panic too much about those sort of things. And the temperatures, these things are quite hard. They will tolerate lower temperatures. Tom Moran says, he sometimes has his down at 14, 15 degrees. And I've known a lot of people talk to me and say that they've had it down that low. The spiders do tend to almost shut down like a robot and not move too much, to conserving their energy, but they're okay. They can tolerate these things for short periods. Which brings me on to my next point. best thing that's happened to me in the last 365 days is making the friends that I've made within the hobby. Mark the spider guy, awesome guy. So glad that I've sort of managed to get to know him and become pretty good friends with him. He's a really nice guy and a brilliant friend. He knows an awful lot as well. His videos are brilliant. They're very wholesome, like you're sitting in his living room with him. Really calm guy. He's a mischievous character, but he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. So he's the first person that I'm so pleased to meet. Scott from Scott's Inverts. Without that guy, I wouldn't have met most of the other guys I know, because his community that he's built up on his Facebook group and in a little WhatsApp group that he's got going. If I hadn't met Scott, I wouldn't have met half of these people, and so he has done an awful lot of good with it, with the community, and the people that surround themselves in that community are all superb people. You've got like Chris, Lewis, Ellie, Gemma, Robbie, Anna, Amory, Steve W, Steve Thornton, Gemma, Wolfie, Craig, all these people, Mark and Victoria, all these people that are just like brilliant characters, and really nice people to meet and talk to at shows, but also really, really helpful, and they'll always be there for you if you ask a question. So I think I would say that for me, the best part about this hobby is having the people around you to help you. Common interests, and you'll probably find that most people who keep spiders have more in common than outside of spiders than you think. So yeah, I've found that these things over the last year have been extremely therapeutic, extremely calming and time consuming, but brilliant just to sort of drift off into your own little world. So yeah, I think over the time I've become less worried about things, grown in confidence, keeping old worlds. I treat them exactly the same, old and new. Treat them all like the worst spider you've got, and accidents tend to happen less. So quite happy with my collection. It's grown. I think the biggest thing as well with my learning is the rehousing. Trying not to panic too much, trying not to flinch, trying not to just tap and get the spider to bolt. Just touch the spider and let it move with constant contact from a paintbrush or a straw or something. Don't keep tapping at it. You tend to have a far calmer rehouse. If you look at my old first videos, they're a little bit more bolted than the ones now. And that's a big plus. And that was from Dave Fisher. Dave Fisher's comments rattling through my head. His voice is in the back of my head on a lot of rehouses, to be fair. Keeping calm is one of his big things. I swear that guy uses some sort of anaesthetic in the room, in the air when he rehouses, because everything he has is so calm. Whereas mine are far less. My heart rate is probably up about 180 on some of them, but it's your movement that dictates whether or not the spider's going to react different. And if you're calm with your movements, they do tend to be calmer. So that's definitely a thing. But yeah, what I'd be interested to know is what you guys think is the most important tip that you've found since keeping spiders, inverts, mantis, whatever. What is the biggest tip that you've found has helped you develop as a keeper, if you had to share it with someone who was brand new? That's what I'd be interested to know, because it's everyone's different and everyone has different thoughts and ways to do things. So anyway, enough rambling. This is my first year. I've got an awful lot more in me yet. Hopefully the collection won't grow as quickly in year 2. I haven't got the space. I will need to be taking all this shelving down at some point and replacing it with another rack. That's going to be coming up in the next few months once funds allow. Yeah, anyway, hope you did enjoy the video. Hope you enjoyed the rehousing. Leave some comments below if you've got anything you want to ask or anything to just suggest to me. Anything you'd like to see. If you'd like to see more rehousings, if you'd like to see other things, if you want to ask me questions, whatever. I'll be interested to know in the comments what you think. apart from if it's you, Craig, and you're going to ask me how my feather leg is. It's fine. The feather leg is fine. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will catch up with you next week, guys. Cheers.